Hey guys, welcome into another 164 custom diecast video. My name is Doug Mount, and I'm going to show you a few cars that I've built here in the last few days and talk a little bit about some of the decal sets I've received from Pato and maybe some ways that if you guys have decals like this, you might be able to help mitigate some of the difficulty we've had, or at least I've had, with those decals. So first off, let's look at this 2020 Johnny Sauter Vivitar number 13 Gander Outdoors truck. So this was a 2020 car or truck, and I've built that with a silver paint and applied the decals over top of it, as you can see. Painted the spoiler black, the interior's detailed in black. Dash, black seat, as you can see. Yeah, pretty happy with this car. I want to show you a few things that are a little shortcoming on it. So this was with water slide decals from Mr. Pato, and they are pretty sharp, no doubt about it. And so when it comes to laying this on, everything laid on pretty nicely. The Menards back here on these quarter panels is a little, it's not really sized that well, so there's a little bit of overlap, especially on these inner corners. But the problem that you run into is on this large decal that goes on the back truck bed, as you can see. So I had built this truck, put it all together before I got the decals, and I wasn't really thinking that I would have a problem laying this over top, but unfortunately I do. So let me show you what the decal sheet looks like, because I'm building another one, if I can get it here. So here's the decal sheet, right? And you can see there's a black kind of area here and right there on the decal sheet. And so what I did was I took the sheet and I cut out those areas because, yeah, they would line up with where these, I guess, tail fins are, but they don't line up. These are a little shorter, and so when I cut them out, I've got a little hole there, as you can see, right? You see that little rectangle there, and not so noticeable on this side, but a rectangle there. So anyways, it looks a little off. Unfortunately, yeah, just not a perfect decal in any stretch, but or a perfect car in any stretch. But all in all, I am pretty happy with how this turned out. It's pretty sharp. The decals went on smoothly. I didn't have any flaking, and it turned out really well outside of this little spot here and this little spot here. So, yeah. What I'm going to do with this is, my plan is to repackage it into this blister pack, because this was this 2020 Wave 8 that I had picked up a while back, and so maybe it was donated to me. I think maybe this might have been donated to me. But yeah, so my plan is to put it back in the package and list it for sale. Now I have another one, like I said, and this is the custom request one I'm going to do. And I think we'll have this one be more like what was raced on the track. This has a more of a gray finish, and I'm going to be able to do a better job on this one after working this one already, I think. So yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do for my requester on that front for this Johnny Sauter truck. Okay, let's move on to another one. And so, Tim, we had emailed, and let me show you what I got for you. So here is the Matt DiBenedetto Menards MasterForce Tools Mustang. Now, I had this in a video maybe a week or two back, and what I decided to do, looking at the pictures, the lower valence was kind of black, and so I just went ahead and painted that black, placed the decal over top of it, so you can see how that turned out, and it looks pretty good. And that way, the yellow decal, I don't have to try to match it with a paint, and so yeah, to me that worked out really well. And I did kind of the same thing with the spoiler. So this is with the huge spoiler, and if you ever watch the races closely and look at some of the pictures, you see that the spoiler, the very top, is a different color than the spoiler. I think maybe they had it see-through so that the drivers could see over top of the spoiler, even though it was pretty tall, and they would be able to see that top through the top half of the spoiler, maybe not the top half, but maybe the top quarter, so to say. But that's what I did with this one. I basically painted it black and applied the yellow decals on the front and back. I think that's probably the best. Again, I don't have to match the yellow paint and have it two shades of yellow, or try to paint it yellow, which is difficult. Speaking of painting yellow, the other thing that I hadn't done on this was paint the roof lines to match what was driven on the track. And so I went ahead and did that here. And as you can see, that turned out really well. I'm super happy with that yellow paint. Now, let me show you what I did and how I did it. So I have a lot of paint, right? You've seen my different paints that I have available that I've purchased over the months and years. But I have this high-performance Rust-Oleum, or high-performance enamel from Rust-Oleum, and it's a yellow. And it's kind of a bright yellow. And that's the paint that I use to do those roof lines. And so basically, and this is something that I've done from time to time, is I spray a little bit into this plate. You can see where I sprayed the yellow. Of course, shake the can up really well. And then I have these little applicators, and I just took a little bit right on this little applicator, and then ever so carefully, went across the roof lines with it. And I think I did 3 coats of it to get it thick enough to be able to have a nice solid color. So all in all, super happy with it. I've got one more coat of sealer on that car, and that one will be ready for you, Tim. So again, apologize for how long it took for the decals to come in and for me to actually finish making the car. But all in all, I'm glad it's done. I'm happy with how it turned out, and I hope you're going to be happy with it as well. Okay, now let's move on to this this car that I had a request from Mr. Kyle to build. This is a Kyle Busch 2016 Skittles Avengers. You can see Iron Man on the side there, and Captain America, and you've got this kind of two-tone paint between the red back to this sublime green. Now the decals that came in from Pato on this one, probably the worst set of decals I've ever received from him. They are the laser sharp decals, as I understand it. I'm still trying to get confirmation on that. And I had the green background removed, and this is kind of what it looks like. It's kind of that. It has a white backing, and you can see the decal kind of on the paper there. There's not a whole lot of difference there. Now, some of his other decals that I have received in the past come with like a blue background. And this has the decal actually has a little bit more substance to it. It's not as thin, but you don't have any problems with the ink flaking in any way. And after a few coats of sealer, it looks really good. And so this is the kind of decal that I want to continue to order from him. This, and I think this is the laser sharp decals. It's really thin. You can barely even feel a difference from the paper onto the decal, whereas here you can definitely feel the thickness of the decal there. And so, but what has been happening is just what you can see here. It has flaked a little bit on me. So let me show you a few spots. I've tried to touch up a few spots. You can see right here on this A-pillar how it's split and cracked a little bit on me. You can see some green showing through there. You can see some right here on this area where some green is showing through. I tried to pre-paint red behind there. You can see right here where the pre-painted red shows through. I painted across the bottom here with black to cover what was showing through and the cracking that was taking place. All in all, it's not really bad. You can see some greens cracked right here, a little bit across here. Kind of hard to see there. You can see across this bottom, see some flaking that took place when I was, the red ink kind of flaked off. So at the end of the day, and I had pointed this out to you earlier, so, the Stanley, you can see the Stanley decal there is flaked and cracked right there. That little area, the black is broken off. So at the end of the day, this is the last one, Kyle. I'll be able to ship these out to you probably tomorrow. The four that you are requesting, and then the empty display case. So yeah, now I built that, and I've built a few of them, right? And I've had some of that flaking occur. So unfortunately, Kyle, it's not my best work. I did the best I could with it, but yeah, that's the way it turns out. What I tried to do on this next Kyle Busch Heritage car that I made, and you can see some of the flaking that took place. There's a little bit of black that flaked off of the grill, a little bit black flaked off there. You can see some of the inconsistent across the bottom here as the ink kind of broke off as I was laying it in place. A little bit of the red here flaked off. But what I did with this one was I applied 2 coats of clear sealer to the decal sheet. And I did that, and actually I think it helped a little bit. It still flaked, as you saw, but it did help a little bit with it not flaking. So, yeah, I mean, nothing complicated. I, get my clear sealer bottle out, and I'll show you here, just what I did. Don't need to do it on that sheet, but on this one, I just went over it. Just kind of nothing too complicated. Make sure you get everything. And basically what I did was, I did that. And I'm kind of going over it in some areas because sometimes it doesn't. You can see that? See how it kind of doesn't cover everything, even though you go over it. Not that I need to paint these spoilers or go over these spoilers, but sometimes it doesn't get full coverage there. But anyways, so I do that. It's, you know, it's super thin, and then I let it dry, and then I will come back and hit it with a second coat. And I think that actually helps keep it together. I mean, like I said, it still flakes a little bit, but not as bad as if you don't do that. So it's just a technique I've done. Now, let me say this. That was one shipment of decals from Pato that kind of flaked on me. I had another earlier sheet from Pato like this Johnny Sauter Vivitar, super smooth. You know, you can barely feel any difference between here. So the decal is super thin, but this one didn't flake. This one is awesome. So maybe I got a bad batch, right? Where maybe the ink didn't fully adhere to the decal paper during the printing, and it didn't turn out that great. But it doesn't happen all the time. So anyways, this decal set, super sharp, really nice, and no flaking whatsoever. Very happy with this decal set. So yeah, just passing the information that I have. Not everything that I've received from Pato on that laser sharp stuff is bad news. All right, so what else have I been doing? So I had some business travel that pops up from time to time, and you know, it is what it is, and so things come to a halt whenever I do that. But I've got some not decals, but I've got some cars in the works, getting ready to get some JB Weld on this one. Nick, got your emails, and I'll be building this for you. So I've got that painted. I've got this Centrix truck. You can see here the status of it here. I've got the two-tone paint done, and before I put it all together, I put the decal on the back. And so as this is drying, when I'm ready, I'll punch the holes in it and put those plastic pieces in, rebuild it all together, and JB Weld it, and then finish decaling it. But I think when you're working these full decals sheets on the bed, it's best to put them on before you get the truck back together. That's kind of what I'm learning in this. You know, sometimes you learn trial and error. So let's see what else, Doug. So I've got this for you that I'm working, and you can see a lot of pre-painting that I did here, because you know, this is all white on the back end, but on the front here is all black, and so I wanted to make sure I had no white showing through whenever I do this. So yeah, that's why there's so much pre-painting, and I needed to do it before I put the plastic pieces in. So yeah. All right, so the other day I had this PTC mold, and then thanks Diecast Buffet and Alan and others for describing what the name of this particular Lionel mold is. That's very unique and odd, to say the least. But I've gone ahead and kind of detailed a little bit of the interior here. I'm not doing anything on the bottom. And I went ahead and painted this car all black, and it's a Chevy. And my thought is, I can pull it out here, get my decal sheet. I am going to make this Matt Kenseth 2020, actually what he drove at Pocono, credit 1, but I'm going to do it in black using that PTC mold. And yeah, figured I've got the cars, I might as well do something unique with them. And so yeah, so we'll make that into a black, one of a kind Matt Kenseth number 42 credit 1 2020 Chevy Camaro ZL1. So that's my plans for that. And then let's see what else. Alex, I've finally got yours. You saw me put a coat of sealer on this decal sheet, but I've got these Mustangs opened up, and I've got the High Point one here already with 2 coats of white on it, so that'll be probably the first one I get finished. And then I've got this Rush Truck Centers with the Cummins. You can barely see the Cummins logo. That's amazing. On the sides there, and the decal sheet, because it's white backing paper and the logo is white. Yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, so I've got these Mustangs, building some Chase Briscoe. You know, who doesn't like Chase Briscoe? He's a terrific driver, and definitely one that's making his mark here in 2022. So, all right, guys, that's pretty much all I have to share with you today. Hope you're doing well. Let's see, today is Wednesday, April 27th. I'll be probably doing another video on the 29th, Friday, or the 30th. But again, hope you guys are doing well. Hope God is blessing your life and you're following in His ways. We will talk to you later. Take care.